1460 WVOX.
Now, live from Whitney Media, 1460 WVOX, the Greenburgh Report, with Greenburgh Town Supervisor Paul Feiner. You can join in the conversation at 914-636-0110. Now on 1460 WVOX, here's Greenburgh Town Supervisor Paul Feiner.
Hi, my name is Paul Feiner. I'm the Greenburgh Town Supervisor.
And I'm his co-host, Pauline Mosley. Welcome to the show.
And today we have a really interesting program. My guest is David Diao. And David has been an intern in my office for the past spring period of time. And he has done an amazing job, I'd say, of all the interns I've had working for me since I've been town supervisor. He's been among, if not the best. He's so hardworking, so determined, so organized, and he was involved in an effort to help our local economy. So, David, maybe you could just tell us a little bit about yourself first.
Yeah, first of all, Paul and Pauline, thank you so much for having me today. And yeah, just getting started with a bit of an introduction. So I am currently a rising senior at Scarsdale High School, which means I will be graduating this year and will be attending Cornell University and studying political science in the fall. And yeah, for the past 3 or 4 weeks, it's just been an absolute blast working at the Greenburgh Town Hall, learning all the ins and outs of local government life, and also being able to do hands-on projects with various things. As you mentioned, we were going around to local businesses, yeah.
And Pauline, if David would ever run against me, I would not object if you voted for him, because he's probably more. But basically, could you tell us a little bit about your efforts with setting up the Chamber of Commerce, or helping the Chamber of Commerce, get set up and reaching out to the local businesses?
Yeah, so getting started with the Chamber of Commerce, that was kind of our task on, from day one, really. And it was a dual effort where we were both promoting this Chamber of Commerce, which is not the first of its kind, but at least after the meeting, the first one that has major success on the first day, but also getting survey data for the town of Greenburgh, cataloging local businesses, reaching out to them, hearing some of their concerns and ideas for improvement. And so that process was basically just door-to-door work. We would go out in a car to a local business area, such as East Hartsdale Avenue or Central Avenue, and we would pretty much just walk door to door, introduce ourselves to local store owners, and explain what we were doing. And so many of them were helpful and friendly, and we were also promoting the Chamber of Commerce. So I think that we were able to get a word out about that through our efforts.
And we had a pretty big turnout at the first meeting of the Chamber.
Yeah, there was, I'd say, way more than 50 people, something like that, around there. Mm-hmm.
And Pauline's a member of our zoning board. Was just appointed, so I don't want to be critical of the town, but before David was involved, we didn't have an inventory of all the business. You see, I'm being criticized already. But the thing is, we had no idea, how many businesses were there, how many vacancies were there. So David is helping us. And could you tell us a little bit what you found?
Yeah, so basically we've actually just been pretty much finishing up, putting wraps on our project for a comprehensive business directory, and that's to catalog all the local establishments that are running out of storefronts at least, as well as cataloging local vacancies in the area. And our end numbers are we have around 430 businesses. It's probably a bit of an undercount because some of them slip under the radar, but around that, probably upwards, and maybe around 20 to 30 vacancies, which means that we have about a 5% vacancy rate, which is really strong. And especially we noticed that a lot of those vacant stores, yes, obviously the pandemic had its impact, but a lot of them are currently being filled by new businesses that are coming to the town of Greenburgh and looking to set up shops because of, as so many business owners that we spoke to said, this amazing and vibrant community that we have here. And, it's a really great community, great place to be. That's
great. You're a professor, and would you say that David should go for his master's and skip the college years?
Absolutely. I mean, that is so impressive, seeing a problem and then being able to strategize and organize this. So when you started putting this database together of these businesses, how did you or you and your team decide, were you working by yourself or was it with a team?
Yeah, so I was working with a team of very talented interns, my peers, and I
Okay.
just want to shout them out really quick. So that's
Sure.
Ricky from Irvington High School and Austin and Henry from Dobbs Ferry High School. They helped me out a lot, especially, with the data collection. They were out there just as I was every single day, going out to local businesses, reaching out, and afterwards they helped me a lot with filling in the gaps of maybe some stores we didn't get through. We went through online information because we kind of knew the routes that we walked, and they were able to get some of that information and help me input it into the end file.
Excellent. So I'd like to learn a little bit more and also share with our listening audience. Working team collaboration is so important and such a valuable skill set. I know we have to take a break, but maybe when we come back, we can learn, you can share with our audience so many of these wonderful benefits that you've obtained through this wonderful intern experience provided by Paul Feiner, our Greenburgh Town Supervisor.
Yep,
Thank you.
absolutely. Thank you.
Great. So we're going to take a couple-minute break, and then we'll be right back. David Diao, who you're going to be reading more about in the future. Because we know that
Absolutely.
you're going to be a great leader in the future.
No
Thank you.
doubt.
Thank you
about
so
it.
much.
WVOX. Now back to the Greenburgh Report on 1460 WVOX. Once again, here's Greenburgh Town Supervisor Paul Feiner.
Oh, hi. This is Paul Feiner. I'm the Greenburgh Town Supervisor, and my co-host is...
Pauline Mosley, welcome back. And right before the break, we were asking David to explain more about data. Database management systems is something that is so essential in our world today. And David, how did you and your team decide what elements that you were going to keep track of for this database to assist Mr. Feiner, our Greenburgh Town Supervisor, in understanding and maintaining businesses?
Yeah, so there was a couple of different elements. First, we definitely wanted to have the bare bones information. We wanted to know where these businesses were, what they were doing, and who we could contact at them if we ever needed to reach out with, any concerns, questions, whether they want to reach out to us so we know their names. But we also wanted to take survey information, and that was various things like whether they needed help with social media, whether they had any specific concerns that they wanted to raise to the town, or whether they wanted to say anything that was positive, that was good for them, and they wanted to congratulate the town on its work. And so we took all of that data and we created both a directory, which is just all of the business names, just so that we can reach out. And also we compiled the information on their feedback. And so we talked over that with Mr. Feiner. And basically, again, it was a lot of positive feedback. There were some suggestions as well, always places for improvement, but it was an overwhelmingly positive response from local businesses.
This is excellent. So what platform did you use or did your team decide to house this data? Was it like Excel? Was it Access? Or what type of platform did you decide upon?
Yeah, so actually just for the convenience of working with multiple interns right now, we're just using Google spreadsheets because you can share it out. Yeah, but then afterwards we're probably going to transfer it over to an Excel document because those can be more powerful in terms of sorting data. And let's say we want to reach out to restaurants on Route 119. Well, you can have filters that sort for that, so you can immediately see these are all the restaurants that we have logged and reach out to all of those establishments.
Were you surprised that a lot of the data that you're working on we didn't have? What I'm saying is there's a sort of I shouldn't be asking these questions because it's probably you're going to think less of me.
No.
But were you sort of surprised that a municipality like Greenburgh doesn't have that, and how does it feel to actually be doing something that is helping the town be managed, better.
Yeah, I guess I could say I was like a little surprised. I mean, there was already an existing document, but it just maybe wasn't as comprehensive, because I understand it is difficult to get these things done, because at the end of the day, you can try and like use different means, but going door to door and actually seeing the physical locations and doing kind of, the grunt work is one of the best ways to get that done. But, I just feel really honored to be able to add this value to the Greenburgh Town Hall and be able to put myself to productive work, because I know that at the end of the day, even if I'm not working here, this data can still be used by both the town, maybe future interns contributed to, and it can make an impact in being able to reach out to local businesses and improve the town of Greenburgh's effect in the local area.
And one of the issues with the town is we don't have a large staff. And there's so many land use and planning decisions. You're on the zoning board, you see. So the thing is, it's hard to divert, whenever you say, oh, you want to have this type of database, I'm taking people away from other projects, which could be, they may be reviewing an assisted living facility, or they may be reviewing a bubble, a sports bubble, or bamboo legislation. There's so many, there's hundreds and hundreds of things. So sometimes things fall through the cracks. But I think what you did is important, because we're sending a message to the business community that they're valued. We also, it's easier now to identify where the vacancies are in the town. You could, on our Greenburgh website, you could click on to the economic development page. And David, you took photos of vacant stores, right?
Yeah. So basically on the economic development page, there's a list of opportunities. So certain vacancies are listed with their listing information. And so prospective businesses can go and look for a storefront that they're interested in when opening up a new business in the area. So part of our job was also both to write down, this location is vacant, but also take pictures. And I was responsible for pretty much going online, scouring listing information from real estate companies, getting in contact with brokers and things like that, and making sure that all of that information is easily accessible to prospective business owners.
This is absolutely incredible. So just share with me, David, you're a senior, and I know in senior year, you have regents, you have your AP exams, you're applying to colleges. So how many days was this internship, and how many hours did you devote to this? This is absolutely incredible.
In fact, I was going to write to the school saying that he didn't show up, so he'll be left back, and this way he could. You
could have him again.
I could have him again. But now that I said this on the air, it's too public, so I'm not going to be able to do that. But I was really impressed. In fact, my assistant, Krista Matson, was impressed, because she said, a lot of interns, they're supposed to spend a certain number of hours a week, and then after, the
first week
done,
you don't see them.
Or they don't really. There's a difference between like doing the minimum or really going the extra mile. And David worked way more than the hours that he was supposed to, and also did an amazing, really just an amazing job. And that's why, I'm so pleased that, that David is part of our
community.
Town team. He really is a model for what a student internship, should be.
So how many hours did you do? I know you did above and beyond, as Paul said, but how many did you do? We'd like to just know.
I think that the last time I checked, which was around 2 weeks ago, I actually have to update my logs. I think it was somewhere in the ballpark of 100, maybe a little less, little more. Yeah, but I mean, it's pretty much just I enjoy doing my work at the town of Greenburgh. I feel like at the end of the day, whether it's I'm doing these projects that are related to wider things like business establishments and things like that, or even if it's something more specific, like maybe someone calls in. There's a lot of people that call into Paul's office where, we're problem solvers there, and our goal is to always help the community. And so I'm also helping to help those people. And it's just awesome being able to do work that contributes to the lives of so many people within the town.
And you were an intern in the past in the town, right?
Yes, yeah, actually it's kind of going full circle because back in my freshman year summer, the town has an internship program, which is, by the way, very awesome. And, if there's any prospective interns listening, that's something you can try out. But it was basically an internship program over the summer. It was over COVID, so most of it was virtual. We didn't get to do as much of the in-person stuff, but I felt that I learned an absolute ton. There were so many amazing guest speakers, and that kind of was the first exposure I really had to life in local government and learning about different things. I remember.
Were you there when we had Hillary Clinton?
Yes, I remember. Miss Clinton was there as well. That was definitely something. And again, it's just being able to get this insight into the town kind of sparked an interest in politics and things like that, and being able to help people out.
Do you think that you would have, gone into this type of public service if we hadn't had the internship experience?
Ooh, yeah. I think that I don't know where I'd be without that. I kind of had an interest in the humanities and stuff, but who knows? I could be, like diving into history books or something like that instead of living right here and now and applying whatever knowledge I have to try and help people out.
And this really highlights the importance of these internships.
Absolutely.
Because maybe everybody's not going to get everything that David got out of it, but it really could change, lives. And you could have a good impression. Like I know when I was in high school, I worked with Al Del Bello, who was the former county executive, and he let me start the bikeways, the Sunday bicycle days. That was my idea, and he treated me great. And then I worked with people. Max Birkin was the head of the Democratic Committee, and he was really great to me and made me feel really good. Ogden Reed was a congressman, and I used to get invited to parties at his house and go swimming there. And these impressions were so positive that it caused me to want to go into government. And when I started, if they basically were rude to me or treated me like I was a nothing, maybe I would have gotten discouraged and I would have gone into something else. So
no, that's a very important point you make. The internships are so important to bringing awareness of a job and a career and a passion to youth. So share with us, if you don't mind, David, what did you like most about this internship experience so that you can help motivate other high school students to really seriously think about participating in an internship program? And kudos to Mr. Paul Feiner for having these wonderful internship experiences for students. So tell us, what did you like most about this experience?
I would have to say there's a lot of things that I like. There's definitely a lot of things that I like. But if I had to narrow it down to just one thing, and this answer might be a little bit of a cop-out, but I would say it's the diversity of experiences that I had at the town hall. Yeah. And I think another thing is just, we talk about how it can potentially be a starting off point for if you're interested in government. But I think that, even someone not interested in government, they can get so much out of the program. And again, just being able to go in, experience new things, learn about different problems, and learn how to solve them, that was the absolute highlight.
Great. So we have to take another break, and we'll be back with David Diao. And David will be talking about his experiences as a Greenburgh intern and his efforts helping the local business economy and the Chamber of Commerce that we're just starting.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Now, back to the Greenburgh Report on 1460 WVOX. Once again, here's Greenburgh Town Supervisor Paul Feiner.
I'm Paul Feiner. I'm the Greenburgh Town Supervisor. And
I'm Pauline Mosley.
And we've been interviewing one of the outstanding interns who has worked in my office since I've been supervisor, David Diao. and David has been very, very helpful in assisting us with economic development, reaching out, compiling a database of businesses, encouraging the businesses to join a chamber of commerce. He spoke at the first meeting of our Greenburgh Chamber of Commerce, and he's compiling a database listing the vacancies, really doing, advanced, work that you wouldn't expect a high school student, to do. You had a question?
Yes, I wanted to know, David, what is after you put this database together, which users do you see that are going to actually be able to use this database?
Yeah, I think that, of course, there's going to be the town. I think the town can definitely utilize this database for a variety of different things. Obviously, on the planning side, we have to go and plan new business districts or things like that. There's a lot of use of having an existing just idea of what's going on in the local area. But I think another actually important use is increasing communication between the town and local businesses. Because beforehand, let's say the town, it could be anything. Let's say there's a water leakage nearby and they want to notify local businesses. Well, there's not necessarily a direct means of communication. You can obviously send a letter and stuff, but maybe in this case, an email or something like that is faster. But now that we have this list compiled, it really strengthens communication between the town and local businesses. And I feel as well, just being able to have, even if it's interns, people from the town go out, reach out to local businesses, tell them your voice is heard. That really increases just the general community cohesion and the relationship between the town and its community members. And I think that's really important.
And we're actually lucky because we're getting a lot of new businesses in the town, getting Barnes and Nobles. We're having the Golf Zone, the 2 golf simulator businesses. You have new restaurants in Central Avenue, East Hartsdale Avenue, all over, all over the town. So I sort of feel that a lot of the businesses they're more excited. In the past, you've had businesses that have been around for so many years. They really weren't that interested in becoming part of the community or being part of the chamber. But I just get the feeling that there's more that we're going to be able to benefit from businesses that really want to do something.
Yeah, and actually, I had the chance to speak to, you mentioned the kind of virtual golf experience. Some of those people were at the Chamber of Commerce meeting, and I was able to talk to them a bit. And again, as you mentioned, they just seem very excited to join the community.
Right. A few days ago, you were interviewed by lowhud.com, and lowhud asked, David if they could have done like a video interview of what he's done, and it was real. I saw the interview and it was really great. And what you were doing is you were trying to promote a local business. And could you tell us about that experience?
Yeah. So actually, I also want to shout out the local business while we're on the air. It's Eduardo Akustupa's Jewelers in the Crossroads Shopping Center on Terrytown Road, and it is really an amazing store. It's one of the amazing stores that we got to visit. But our goal really was to work with a local business, family run, things like that, and just highlight how unique it was to the community, what kind of service it provided, what kind of experience it was to shop in the stores. And, we're not finished with that video, still going through the process of editing, but the end goal is, both to promote this specific business, but really to just give people in general a glimpse into the vibrant business community that we have in the local area. And I think, with the pandemic, so many consumer spending habits change, right? You're inclined to, if you want food, you can just order it online. You need groceries, order them online. But when we show that there's so much more to shopping with local businesses than just getting a purchase, and there's quality items as well. And so it encourages people, hopefully, to go out to local businesses to support the local community.
How long is that video going to be?
So I think that as we're looking at it right now, it's going to be around 15 minutes, a little on the long side, but we really wanted to capture Eduardo's story and again, not just highlight what is this business doing, but what is the story behind it? How is his relationship with customers, things like that.
And one of the things that I think that the town should be doing in the future, and we've done a little bit, but not to your quality. When I've done it, it's like maybe you would probably give me like a C, and David would get like an A. But the thing is, it's important to promote local businesses because many of them, it's difficult for a business to be successful, and many businesses, it's hard in this day and age for them to get their message out. So I think one of the jobs of the town is to publicize the work that they do, to promote them as best as we can. And I think what you're doing is setting an example that the town should follow. When if every business that is thinking about coming to the town would feel that they're going to get free publicity from the town government, wouldn't that help motivate them to choose Greenburgh rather than, say, White Plains or Yonkers or any other community? Because Greenburgh, you have Central Avenue, ports Yonkers, ports White Plains. So what's the benefit, the extras that they're going to get?
Yeah, so I feel that there's definitely the benefit of, obviously, publicity is always, always good and appreciated from businesses. But again, at least it's as well just feeling that the town hall is looking out for them, that it's hearing them, that it cares about local businesses. And that really creates an environment that's conducive to so much growth. And I don't know any business that wouldn't want to be a part of a community where the people are friendly and not most important. I think that people being friendly is definitely, a community is very important, but also the added bonus of having the town be very friendly to them and the town willing to hear out their concerns, to promote them, to understand where they're coming from as businesses.
Did you find when you spoke to the businesses that some of the businesses were annoyed with the town? And, you could say that on the air.
Actually, I will say that I don't think there were many businesses that were annoyed with the town. I know there was one business that was a little suspicious of a random group of high school kids coming in and saying they were with the town. We presented ID, but they're still a little bit suspicious. But other than that, I think that the feedback was overwhelmingly positive. They felt there was a strong community atmosphere in the area, and they felt supported.
I think, what about signage? Have people complained about that?
Yes, and I think that goes into, again, there's mild annoyances, but those are more like constructive criticism. I think one concern that was highlighted by some businesses were that local signage sometimes did not allow for smaller businesses to be as visible. Let's say, if you're driving by a major road, right, and many of these roads that go through business areas are quite fast. It might be difficult to spot out and notice businesses in the area that could be very interesting and exactly what you're looking for, but get crowded out by busy signage that's not clear enough.
Let me ask a question. This is just like an advice question. There may be, some stores would want to put up like neon lighting and, really do whatever they can to get noticed. If you were in my situation, where's the balance, in terms of signage? Like if we let somebody put up like a gigantic sign, people will see it, but is that something that is sort of going to make the streets look more crappy? Or should we as a town government say, you know what, we're going to treat you first and we don't care about the look? I mean, I'm just wondering your thoughts, because it really is an issue that comes up, all the time.
Yeah, and I think that there definitely is a very fine line to draw between, having signs be very bright and shiny and detracting away from the aesthetic value of the community. And to that, I think that really the biggest concern is with shopping centers and inlets where there's multiple different stores. And I think that in regards to those signs, we don't have to go all out, but just having some bigger signage that is more clearly visible from passing cars or even pedestrians. Sometimes the signs are very small, they're not very well lit, but having more visibility for those areas where it's difficult to actually look at each individual business is, I think, something that has a lot of utility value.
Are there any other suggestions that you have as to ways the town could operate better in terms of dealing with businesses?
I think that just in general, always an area of improvement, is always just reaching out for that connection with local businesses. I think, one idea I was actually thinking of is maybe, once a week, something like that, the town could just shout out a local business, snap a picture, maybe someone goes over to visit and just learns a little bit about the business, but just a quick post just to say, hey, let's show off some of the amazing businesses that we have that really are the lifeblood of our community.
I've been doing that, I'd say, maybe every week or so, usually new restaurants I've been publicizing, but maybe it should be more of an organized, effort, because I basically, if I go to a restaurant and they just opened up, I'll publicize it, but I'm probably, it's not structured. And that should be maybe a responsibility of the planning department. So we have another short break, and then we'll be back. And after the break, I'd like to find out what your goals are after you graduate college.
Absolutely.
So stay tuned, and then you'll get an answer, possibly.
WVOX. Now back to the Greenburgh Report on 1460 WVOX. Once again, here's Greenburgh Town Supervisor Paul Feiner.
Hi, I'm Paul Feiner, Greenburgh Town Supervisor. My guest is David Diao, an intern, and you're a student at Scarsdale High School, right?
Correct, yes.
And you're going to Cornell, and before you blink, you'll have graduated. And what is your career goals?
Yes.
Have you thought of it?
So I have thought of it a little bit, still very far in the future, so a little intimidated by the idea of already going out into a career. But I would say that there's one thing at least that I know for certain, which is whatever it is I want to do. And, right now I'm thinking maybe something related to government, something like that, but that's always subject to change as new experiences come up. But whatever it is I do, I want to add value. I want to add value to the people that I work with, to society as a whole. I just want to add value to whatever it is I do.
That is great. Do you have advice? There's a lot of interns from Scarsdale High and from all other schools. And do you have any advice for other interns how they could get most value from internship experiences and from your friends who have interned elsewhere? Do some students make a mistake by not taking the internships seriously enough?
Well, I think that if I were to give advice at least to prospective interns, anything like that, starting at a new job, maybe something they're familiar with, maybe something unfamiliar with, it's always to seek to find a reason for why you do seek to find a value behind what it is you do, because there's so many things that maybe you're thinking, oh, what do I have to do now? You do it without thinking too much. But if you take a moment to stop and say, well, why is it that, even if it's clerical work, why am I sorting papers? What are these papers going to? What happens after I sort it? What is possible now that I've done this? And really think about what it is you're doing and take a critical lens on it. I think there's so much to be gained. Just having that, learning mindset. You're in a new environment. You're here to learn new things. And if you think critically about even the most menial task, I'm sure you'll get something out of it.
Well, that's really true, because even like from my experiences in the past, when I've done clerical work, out of school, people could say, you didn't gain any real value. But just observing how other people interact with people, how other people treat each other. In many organizations, whether it's government or in the private sector, there's all these politics going on and personality disputes. So just observing that is an experience. So your experience was different because you were able to actually implement something and organize a project, but you could gain value from any experience, I think.
Exactly, yeah. And that's so much. It's just like being aware, thinking of your surroundings, things like that. There's always so much to be learned in a new
Or
environment.
even learn how you shouldn't treat people.
Exactly, yeah.
There could be you could be an intern in an office, and everybody could be yelling at each other, or the boss could basically be treating the employees really horribly, and just even observing the interactions could be beneficial.
Yeah, not here though. Not here though. Everyone is super, super nice. But definitely, yeah. Even if there's something that's not the most agreeable experience, that's at least a kind of lesson for the future. Like, oh, this might not be, the best thing to do.
This is another question that I just thought of. You seem to have a brilliant future ahead of you, and I'm sure of that. But a lot of people may say, you might be unique. Have you had failures in the past?
Oh.
And are there lessons from those failures? Because people may be jealous of you when they listen to this program and say, "Oh, he's so smart."
Undoubtedly, there's definitely been failures in my life. I think with everyone, there's always, something that just doesn't go right, maybe. But I think that probably the biggest lesson I've learned from failure is to always look at failure as an opportunity to learn, to grow, to get stronger, and to push past and become better because of the failure. I think failure is, in many cases, it's an opportunity.
Yeah, actually, failure is actually, you have to fail to be successful.
Exactly.
Because people who never fail, they don't know how to deal with it, and you have to land on your feet. And I think that's another lesson. So the Chamber of Commerce, you attended the first meeting, and it was a really, great meeting, 50 people. One of the things that we did, which add value to the businesses, we told the businesses what they should do if they're worried about shoplifting. So didn't we have some police officers there?
Yep, there were 2 police officers who were super kind and courteous in just going through all the different procedures and assuring all these businesses this is, what you're supposed to do if something like this happens. This is ways that you can prevent crime from occurring. And those are just opportunities for businesses to learn more. It's super important, yeah.
And that's the type of thing that I think is really good for a Chamber of Commerce, where you're giving real value and you're making these meetings meaningful. Are there any other thoughts that you would have for the future as to topics that local businesses might be interested in?
Ooh, that's definitely, I think that maybe one topic that many businesses might be interested is the concept of social media marketing. Like, how do you set up an online presence for your store? How do you put yourself out there to more people? Because I think that more often now social media is becoming a means for communication, whether that's for better or for worse, but it's the way that people communicate and take in information. So maybe something like that, lessons in media marketing.
And one of the things that I'd like to do, this has been an ambition of mine, is I'd like to have student interns create their own business and offer local businesses social media help. I mean, do you think that's something that could work?
That's amazing. Yeah, I would love to do that personally.
That's great. So good. So we'll tell Scarsdale High School not to graduate you. Is that because I sort of think that would be like such an amazing next step. We have the database. We've reached out to the businesses. There's a lot of businesses where the owners don't really know anything about social media, and they might want to hire students, or they may want to maybe students could even volunteer, give some basic tips, and then it could help the businesses survive.
Yeah, exactly. I think that it's both an opportunity for the businesses and for the students.
Do you know any fellow students who are going to be seniors next year or in the high school who might be interested in working on that project?
I think definitely so. Yeah, there's a couple people in mind who might be interested.
So that would be great. You see, so we just started a business from this interview. But I think this is really great because people in government should not be afraid of students, and they should take advantage of the talent that they have and recognize that the younger generation basically knows more about social media than people in their 50s and 60s or 70s or even 30s and 40s.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be great. So I'm really excited, and maybe that's something that you could help us with.
Yeah, definitely.
I would definitely like to do that. So we just have like another minute or so. Anything else you'd want to add?
Yeah, I just want to add again, I think a message to any prospective interns, maybe considering the Greenburgh Town Hall next year for a place of internship. It is a wonderful environment. You learn so much. The people are so friendly, and I've just had an absolute blast working here for the past 4 weeks. So
Great, thank you, and we really appreciate everything you've done. You've been a real role model, and I'm sure that I'm going to read about you in the New York Times and Wall Street Journal and Time Magazine in the future.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for your time. Time management is such a essential component for high school students, managing your studies and yet also taking on this task of internship and then developing such a phenomenal tool and end product to better our town and to assist our town supervisor in businesses through the database. So thank you so much.
Great, thank you.
And Paulina, thank you so much for having me today, and thank you to WVOX, of course.
Great.
We wish you the best, and congratulations on your upcoming graduation.
Thank you
to
so
you
much.
and your family.
Great.